We'll be out of here before you know it, because I do streamline things. So, okay, here we are. We're ready to go. Welcome to Understanding Movies, the American Cinema for spring term 2014. Did not spring vacation go by very quickly? Man, here we are. Okay, so let's just get started. Let's jump into this so that we can find out what's going on in this course and see what you have to do and all of that. And the first thing you want to know, of course, is who am I? All right, my name is Lucanio, as you can see there, Lucanio. They actually moved me, my office, forever. At LCC. It's been a little over 10 years. I've been here in my office was room 210. Now I'm in room 208. You can't miss me as you go through the forum building there. As you go right in, you'll see me clear at the end over there in my little cubbyhole. There's my telephone number there, but don't call me. And I'll explain why. I have two email addresses for you, as you can see right up there. One is my campus email, and another one is just that I added to it, just so that if there's two of them, you can always send them to both if you need to get in touch with me. My office hours are Tuesdays, 9:30 to 10:30, but if it's absolutely impossible for you to get at that time, then we'll find out a time where we can meet. Something about myself. I have spent my professional career teaching film. I have written several books. Most of my work has been in my research area, which is 1950s Hollywood film, and it is spent dealing with science fiction films of the 1950s. And I was actually in a movie several years ago called Monsters from the Id. I think that website's still there. I don't know, that movie is so old now, I don't think anybody's seen it. And nobody saw it when it came out, so why would they want to see it now? But that's part of my research. I also, lately, I have written some essays in a couple of books, one on television. Well, actually, they're both dealing with television. Science Fiction Theater, a television program of the 1950s, and another one is 1950s Rocket Man TV series. And I wrote an essay in there all about how you became a junior spaceman in the 1950s and how producers made a lot of money off all of the children being junior space people. Those books, by the way, are available on Amazon. If you buy one, I don't get a nickel out of any of them. And also, I look at movies. My favorite thing is to talk about movies. But I'm also deal with old-time radio. I also deal with the voice. I also deal with entertainment that aesthetics, that is, of oral aesthetics, the spoken word as well as sound effects. So I edit a magazine called Radiogram, and as such, let me plug this. I work with Fred Kraft's Radio Redux repertory company here in Lane County. And there's a poster out for me. I will be speaking about movies that you hear in a couple of weeks at two different times there. Friday at the Springfield Library, that's April 11th, and I'll be at the museum on the following, on Saturday night. And I will be talking about Lux Radio Theater, which was associated with Hollywood, which was movies that were shown to people that were adapted for radio. So you have a very interesting medium there. You have a very interesting way of taking something that is very visual and then turning it into something that is very oral. And interesting way of doing things. And with that, that's in association with My Man Godfrey, which will be done by the Radio Redux people during that weekend. And it is a classic Hollywood film made in 1936. William Powell, Carole Lombard, very much what we call the screwball comedy, and how that play, that film, which was originally a book, became a film that became a radio drama. Very interesting journey. So anyway, that's what I do for, well, I used to do it for a living. Okay, now, don't call me, all right? That, you know, we put up there the telephone number. I'm only on campus 1 day a week, and if you call me, you're going to leave a message, and I'm not going to hear that message until I get back on campus the following week. Then I'll call you, and then you'll be out. And you'll pick that up, hear that message, and then you'll call me, and I won't get it, you know, blah, 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 blah. Send email. That's the best way to do it. For best results, just send email. And that way, because I check email, both of those addresses, by the way, I check them throughout the day, and I can get back to you. So that's the best way to get in touch with me. So you will use email. You will use email. You will use email. Thank you so much. Okay. There is a textbook. It is American Cinema, American Culture. It doesn't matter what edition you get. Any edition will work. If you can find the first edition that is beat up and all of that sort of thing for for $1 someplace, pick it up. It'll work. The only difference in the book editions is that the later editions, and this is pretty obvious, the later editions talk about newer films, films that you would have seen. The series, I think it's about 15 years old now. But what they're talking about, they're not talking about current films. They are talking, this whole series of Understanding Movies, they're talking about what constitutes a movie. And that idea hasn't changed very much. It has, yes, but the same ideas of visual storytelling, they haven't changed. And any filmmaker worth his or her salt in today's world also recognizes, you know, what the great classic films had done, what has gone before them, how you tell stories visually, what this means. So the edition of the book, it doesn't matter. I was also informed this time around that it is also available now as an e-book. I don't know the price. I know very little about that right now, but you can probably investigate that. But you can, this book is available as an e-book. So if that's the way you prefer, you can do that. Okay, moving on. So what is this course? What does it look at? Okay, it's an introductory course that brings Hollywood filmmaking into clear focus as first an art form. Okay, I don't have to tell that to you. You all default to that, and you all default to that because you're college students. Okay, and so since you are playing the role of a college student, immediately you say, well, it's an artistic form. Yes, it is beautiful. It's created. Right. And you'd be right. It's also an economic force. And it's what I've told every film course I have ever taught, that I have mentioned that in Hollywood, it's an economic force first. They do not make a film to make an artistic masterpiece. They make a film to make money. It's the bottom line. It used to be, when you get to the movie system, the studio system, which is one of the topics in this class, the movie system, it used to be pretty much that was run by moguls, dictators that ran those studios. And their idea was, I think I'd like to see a movie about this. And if I want to see a movie about this, a lot of other people would like to see a movie about this. And so they'd say, go make a movie about this. If it made money, fine. If it didn't, well, we'll make it up some other way. Contemporary Hollywood, they won't do it unless they conduct thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of market research to find out if this thing is very workable, pliable, if it's going to work, if it's going to make some money. And if it comes back and says, nobody wants to see that, or if they want to see that, they'll want to see it according to these rules or according to these things, you know, then they'll say, all right, let's give it a chance. Sometimes it doesn't work, though. How many of you saw The Lone Ranger with some guy named Hammer, that I don't know who he is, and Johnny Depp? They were banking on one thing that they thought sure would make that movie a success. And that was, and you can all say it at the same time, that was exactly. Johnny Depp. That's what they were banking on. And yet the public said, not this time. Not this time. And so it cost them an awful lot of money for a movie that's going to just languish. But then they'll make a lot of it back through video, through the video side of it, through selling DVDs, selling, you know, the Netflix thing and all of that. And lastly, a system of representation and communication. The films are and do represent us. It represents who we are, or at least human activity. And also, it's a method of communication. It communicates ideas. Also, the American cinema probes the deeper meanings of American movies this way. This is their term, hidden message of genres. I don't like the way it's phrased, but that's what they'll be talking about. The social and psychological effects of style, what it does for us, you know, when you have the way the film is made. We can take various films and run them almost side by side and look at them and see the different ways they are communicating to us, but also the different ways those films are affecting us. Well, they'll talk about that. Okay, the mutual influence of society and popular culture. Okay, the bottom line there is, do films influence our lives, or do our lives influence films? The question that is always asked whenever there's a mass shooting is it, do films cause people to go out and commit mayhem or commit mass murder? Or are the films just reflecting society? The proper answer to that is yes. The proper answer is that they do both. You know, we make films about mayhem because we create mayhem. And also, a lot of mayhem, a lot of violent films, a lot of things like that do affect people. So it's a two-way street. Okay. Schedule. This is how it works. Each week, there's a 60-minute lesson. It's a documentary film. So one of the nice things about this class is you get to see documentaries about films. You don't get to hear someone lecture about them, but you will be seeing documentaries about these topics that we'll get to in a moment. They are broadcast over the cable system 5 times, as you can see there, but they are also available online. Now, there is the site, the website, but it's in your syllabus, so if you're trying to write that down, don't panic, because you'll find it on the syllabus. But that is the website, and there you can watch it anytime. Okay. The next time I talk to you, because that's what you're doing, your lectures as such are coming from those videos, those video presentations. The next time I talk to you will be at a midterm review, and that is at the end of next month, April 28th. Okay, what I'll be in this room, same time, same station, and I'll just talk about what's going to be on the midterm. You don't have to be here. It's not required for you to be here in attendance because it will be, it's being broadcast as it is tonight, and it is also being streamed, I've got to get that straight, on the internet, and it also will be rebroadcast. So it's not, so you don't have to be here for that. Then what you do is you take the midterm exam. Now, I offer you 1 week only, but this time, at midterm time, there is the spring in service. It comes right in and interrupts my midterm time on May 2nd. So you can still, it starts on Wednesday instead of Thursday because my exam period usually goes Thursday through Thursday. In this particular case, I'm still giving you an extra day, so it'll be Wednesday and available Thursday, but then Friday, it's the in-service day, so there's no school. And then it picks up and continues through Thursday of the following week. And the exam is taken only at the testing lab. It is not, you cannot take it from home. you cannot do anything except go to the testing lab to take the test. So it's also check the availability of their hours of operation so you're there when they are there. Okay. Then I talked to you on June 2nd. Aren't we just, can hardly wait for June 2nd, right? Then I talked to you on June 2nd, end of the quarter, for another discussion about what will be on the final exam. Then you'll take the final exam, and again, it's a week long. It starts dead week and continues through finals week, and again, it's 1 week only. Okay, so what do we do? All right, well, you already know that. The first thing you do is, again, let me emphasize that your lectures as such in this course, this is a telecourse, your lectures, all the information that you need to pass the exams, that sort of thing, you get from watching the video programs, all right? So that's the significant part there. Your weekly video programs, and again, you can find them online, so you don't have to follow that schedule that's on the cable systems. You can find all of them are available online, and you pull them out of that Annenberg site anytime you want to. So if you want to watch all of them at once, you can. And if you missed one and you want to go back and try it again, you can go back. It's always available on the Annenberg site. Okay, also you read appropriate sections of the text. And in the syllabus, there are appropriate sections that are related to the topic for the week. So you are responsible then for reading a textbook and for getting the material from the video programs. Take notes. I mean, if you're a genius, if you're one of those people that remembers everything that you hear, everything that you read, you don't have to take notes. But if you can't do that, take the notes that you need, things that are important, jot them down from the video presentations and from the book as well, or whatever. And then what you have to do in order to get grades, and we already talked about it. What you have to do is take 2 exams. That's it, folks. That's it. There's nothing else that you do. You're not turning in anything every week. You're not doing any of that stuff. What you're doing is you're paying very close attention to the video presentations. You're reading the text. You're getting all of this information together in your head, and then you take exams based on what is in the book and what is in the video presentations. And there are just 2, a midterm and a final. That's it. That's all, folks, as Porky Pig would say. That's all you need to do. Now, of course, I see a lot of people smiling and lighting up their big cigars and saying, aha. Yeah, well, it also means you better pay very close attention to what's going on, because I do cover it. I do cover what's in this class. I get very detail-oriented. So you do need to pay very close attention to what's happening in the video series. Now, the tests are 50 questions each. So by the time you're done, you've answered 100 questions. The way I look at it is by the time you're done with this course, you will have a good understanding of the Hollywood film system. Not so much world cinema, because they don't touch world cinema. So you're kind of lucky. You're just dealing with English language films and the films that were produced in Hollywood. Okay, by the time you're done with this course, you will have answered questions that anybody that would say, I have a good understanding of movies would know. That's how it works. It's one of those cases where when you leave the place, you can, and you pass, you can feel pretty good about yourself and say, I have a good understanding of what movies are about. And my understanding is a lot better than what fans would know. All right, there's the distinction. You know, there's a lot of movie fans out there, and movie fans are usually the ones that make it into the film schools, and then they find out, I got to do a little more than just like movies. I really have to understand what's going on. So that's how this works, okay? Now, again, let me emphasize this, or let me explain it again, because I've been doing this for a long time out here, and still there are a lot of people that don't get it. You have to take the exam in the social science testing lab, which is the center building. And you got to, have your photo ID and your L number. But the important thing, because I had this happen again just, 2 weeks ago. I had, check their hours of operation. They have a website. The website, the location of the website is in the syllabus. Check that, and they'll tell you we are open from 8 o'clock in the morning until 9 o'clock at night, or on Mondays, or whatever it says in there. Look at that and then say, okay, this is when I'm going to take the exam. I'm going to take the midterm exam on Tuesday at 5 o'clock. That's when I want to take it. Is it open? Because I had students, go in there, and they go in at 5 o'clock and they say, sorry, we're closed at 5 o'clock. And no, just check the hours, because if you don't do that, you make me, I get very angry. And then I remember you for that, and I don't want to remember you for things like that. I want to remember you for things like when you achieve superior knowledge about films. And I say, now there is a fella that, or a young woman that knows everything there is to know about Hollywood film. Yeah. Instead of going, that guy's a bum. That guy's an absolute worthless piece of... Okay, we move on. Now, a lot of you had panicked looks when I was telling you that I do ask for detail at things, all right? You can take a 3x5 card with you to the exam. Now, those are the rules that the testing, that's their rules. I mean, I used to, in the old days, you could have, use your notes in your books, but they wouldn't allow that. So, the way it works essentially is, boy, I know a lot of this stuff. I really know what's going on. I know what movies are all about. But man, I'll never remember when they're talking about aspect ratio. That makes no sense. I don't understand that. Okay, and what if he asked me a bunch of questions about aspect ratio? Like, what is CinemaScope? What's this wide angle, I'll never get it. Well, fine, write it down. Write down all you need to know about aspect ratio. So when I ask you that question, you take out your card and you say, I got the answer. Okay. That's how that works. Because any scholar knows that there are certain things that you never can remember. And that happens to all of us. There are just some things that just slip through. I say, I can never remember how to do that. I don't know, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what do? Any person with any brain says, I'll take a cheat sheet with me. Now, I hope doctors don't do that too often. But at any rate, there are things that we just can't remember. So that's what I allow you to do there. Okay, and let me emphasize one more time, you are responsible for your exam, all right? So you get in there and you take that exam. Don't call me and say, I missed the midterm exam because I didn't get there, they closed up, because then I won't want to talk to you, all right? On Moodle, there will also be time for downloading a study guide. And the study guide will tell you what's on the exam. So you have a good idea of, okay, I need to know all of this stuff. Now, it's going to be, it's going to be a lot more than what will be on the exam, but at least you'll have some way of saying, okay, this is the stuff I need to know. Also, I do allow extra credit. There are 2 options that you have. A paper on the production elements of a single sequence of any film produced before 1970. I do require that. Now, a lot of you are going to say, well, I don't want to watch all that old junk. I could even make it worse for you guys. I could really torture you, believe me. It's worse than waterboarding for you guys. I could make the requirement that you have to watch a black and white movie. And I'm glad there are some, but you can't believe the number of students I used to have that complained about. The first thing they asked me, they said, well, tonight's movie, yeah, we're going to, And the first thing they say, is it in color? I'd say, no, it's in black and white. Oh, man, I can't watch black and white movies. Details are in the deluxe syllabus. It's online. If you're confused, bewildered, rattled, depressed, desperate, so am I. So you're not alone. But stop by during office hours or send an email, and I will try to explain as best I can what we're doing. This is what you will be looking at. The first thing you'll see is all about the classic Hollywood style. Classic in this case, just to warn you, does not mean it's old. Classic here is a way of making films. It's a way of seeing things. If you're a lit major, you already know. Then they go on to the studio system. These are where the great moguls take over. This is the system that gave us the Hollywood that we know and that produced the Star, the Gables, the Lombards, the William Powells, the Rock Hudsons, all of these people that were created by studios. Then they move into genre, and they talk about the very distinct American genre, the Western. Incredibly popular throughout the world, but its origins right here in the United States. Then it goes into the romantic comedy, like My Man Godfrey, okay? The romantic comedies, also known as screwball comedies. And then it moves into the combat film. Everybody else on the planet calls it the war movie, but they call it the combat film. And then it goes into everybody's favorite genre, film noir. And it asks the question, is film noir a genre, after they've defined it, or is film noir a style? Is it a genre or a style? Then we move into film in the television age. That's my specialty. What happened in the 1950s when TV begins to compete with Hollywood, with films, and Hollywood's response to TV is make it big, widescreen, 3D, things coming at you, that sort of thing. And then the film school generation. This is where they talk about students who go to school to become filmmakers. Up to that point, we just had people that came out of writing, that came out of acting, that came out of newspapers, that were just walking down the street that became filmmakers. And then the edge of Hollywood. Now, again, this part is dated, but what you'll hear has come to fruition because you've lived it. What you'll hear is, what's the next stage? What's coming up? What are we doing with movies? And what are we doing when Hollywood used to run three things? You know, it made films, it distributed films in their own theaters, all right? That was called vertical control. You know, Warner Brothers made films, distributed the films through Warner Brothers Pictures at their own theaters, at Warner Theaters, okay? Then the government stepped in and said, you can't do that anymore. You have to get rid of one of those things, so they dropped all their theaters. Now what is it? Now they call it horizontal control, because now you make a film and you have to make little figures, you have to have soundtracks, you have to do all that kind of stuff. So here we are at the end. Remember my email addresses and all that sort of thing to get in touch with me. You're responsible, and it's the end. We made it. Thanks. See you again. Bye. Now,